Because after India bans trade with Pakistan, now India slams the port doors shut on Pakistan because this is a seismic diplomatic move with far-reaching maritime consequences that Pakistan is currently staring at because the government of India has invoked Section 411 of the Merchant Shipping Act of 1958 while slapping a total ban on Pakistani ships from entering Indian ports and vice versa. In an official order issued by the Directorate General of Shipping, the Indian government has declared that a ship bearing the flag of Pakistan shall not be allowed to visit any Indian port. An Indian flag ship shall not visit any ports of Pakistan. And this directive, viewers, is positioned as a protective shield for Indian maritime assets and infrastructure. And this is a big move that's coming in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. And this has underlined it as a national security interest, a move that is needed to ensure the safety of life at sea, cargo and critical infrastructure in light of the prevailing tensions between the two nations. And this explosive order, viewers, comes into immediate effect and will remain active until further notice, marking a significant escalation following the recent trade ban as well. And let's now tell you more on this with my colleague and senior editor Shravan Sen joining us live from the newsroom to give us more insight. Shravan, this is a big diplomatic move that is coming in from New Delhi. First, it was trade ban. In fact, first it was Indus Water Treaty suspension, no water. Next, it was trade suspension, no trade. Now, ports' doors have been shut on Pakistan's face.
Well, it's back-to-back a diplomatic strike against Pakistan. First, it was the trade ban, which undoubtedly is going to have a crippling effect on Pakistan's economy. Now, the Ministry of Shipping has just put out a notification stating the following. One, as far as ship movement from Pakistan is concerned, that would be completely barred. In fact, they say a ship bearing the flag of Pakistan shall not be allowed to visit any Indian port. Indian flag ship will not visit any ports of Pakistan. An exemption or dispensation from this order will be examined and decided on a later case. But the two important things as far as Indian ships are concerned, they too will not be allowed to dock at any of the ports in Pakistan. As far as Pakistani ships are concerned, bearing any Pakistani license will not be allowed to dock here. Now, what does it essentially mean? The immediate impact that it would essentially have is the import and export that Pakistan essentially does with the other South Asian countries would certainly have become much more problematic given the fact that they would have to now take a longer route, number one. Number two, as far as the trade ban goes, remember, they were heavily depending on India as far as getting items like pharmaceutical items, cement and various other products, which again, remember, has been completely banned right now. As far as India is concerned, remember, over the last few years, starting from 2014, there's already been a dip in the trade with Pakistan. So it does not really have that kind of an impact as far as India is concerned. The trade balance does not have a direct ramification. But with the two moves that India has now made, one with regards to the port, the other is with regards to trade. In both the cases, remember, Pakistan bears the brunt of this entire issue.
Also, Shravan, one of the, aim is to protect the maritime infrastructure as well. So this is also seen as a very strategic decision by the Indian government as far as, closing down all the ports for Pakistan.
Well, it's undoubtedly a strategic move that has been made by India. In fact, this was planned over the last few days where multiple meetings actually took place within the shipping ministry. And as far as the trade ban goes, remember, the Ministry of Commerce has also been looking at ways to basically choke the entire system right now. Because remember, as far as India is concerned, India over a period of time had basically looked at multiple alternatives. And that is one of the reasons why there isn't isn't a direct impact that India faces at this stage. But having said that, remember, what has India done since the time the Pahalgam attack took place? There are a series of diplomatic measures that have been taken. One, putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. Secondly, drastically reducing the High Commission staff members in Pakistan. And the fact that as far as a trade ban goes, remember that step has also now been taken, because that is perhaps the last nail in the coffin as far as Pakistan goes. And that is the reason why, remember, soon after this, they've also looked at the aspect of port, because Pakistan largely was using at least 3 of our ports. And these ports now will ensure that none of these Pakistani ships have any sort of access, which would essentially mean that the Pakistani ships will have to look at alternative routes, which means additional burden on the Pakistani economy.
Also, Shravan, does this signal a shift in India's maritime doctrine? Because this comes, just close on the heels of trade being completely banned with Pakistan.
Well, there's no shift as such, Deepak, given the fact that India, since 2014, if you really look at this attacks that took place after the Uri attack, there was a series of steps that were taken. Yes, of course, the shift is perhaps as far as the trade policy goes, because there was a point in time when Pakistan basically enjoyed the most favored nation tag. Then that came in the year 1996, and thereafter, given the fact that this status has now been changed by India, it does actually bring about a marked shift in the trade policy. As far as the maritime policy goes, remember, it is largely that some of the shipping routes, which basically goes through Karachi, and some of it was being used by the Indian ships. But remember, as far as India is concerned, it does not have much of an impact, because there are alternative routes that is being now suggested by the Ministry of Shipping.
That's right, Shravan. India's sweeping ban on Pakistani ships and a reciprocal prohibition on Indian vessels entering Pakistani ports is a move that has now being seen as a complete disengagement in the economic front, be it on trade, imports, exports, and also shipping. No ships bearing Pakistani flags can enter or dock at Indian ports, and no flags bearing Indian flags will be allowed